WordPress.com is the hosted version of WordPress, which sits on WordPress. So the files sit on WordPress's servers somewhere over in the States, I presume. So basically that's great if you want a simple website. You don't have to worry anything about security because nobody can hack into these sites. They're very, very secure. So what would normally happen is you would have your name or your practice name .wordpress.com. A lot of the functionality is the same. You can add, static pages. You can add your blog posts. You can add your pictures. You can add all of those things. You can also add, use themes to do the design. At the moment, I think there's about 200 themes you can use with the free version of WordPress. And some of them are premium themes, but about 100 of them are free. So it's generally great for somebody who wants a fairly simple website. They don't maybe want to put any e-commerce into their site because then we'd need to use a plugin. Somebody who really wants minimal upkeep of their website, it can be a really good choice. So if you wanted to get rid of the WordPress.com bit out of that domain name, that's also really easy to do. So for $18 a year, which I think is an absolute bargain, you can just do a domain upgrade, which means it will mask the WordPress.com. So I think it's a really great option that I would always recommend for people to have a look at doing. You don't necessarily go for the self-hosted version. WordPress.org is the one you pay for. So you're not paying for the software. It's all open source. It's all free. You've got to pay for some web hosting, exactly. So if we think of the web as being this big library in space somewhere, we have to rent our little tiny bit of the web so we can put our files up there, exactly. And this is why the security and everything becomes really important, because we're taking responsibility for those files and how they are on the web. If you're not sure about buying the hosting and doing all that razzmatazz, you can have a play on WordPress.com for free and just get yourself up to speed. You've installed your WordPress, you're ready to go. Your hosting company will give you a link that will look like this, that your new domain name /WP WordPress -admin. You'll put that into a browser. It will ask you for a username and a password. So this is the WordPress dashboard where all the magic happens, where we add all of the content. So some of the settings that are good to have a look at when you're first starting off your website are general. The site title is the name of the company. Make a decision whether you want blog posts on your homepage or if you want your static page. About or a page I've called home, I would just go ahead and change that. Discussion is all about comments. You can leave it all default, it doesn't matter. Media settings can be sometimes good to just have a quick look at. Whatever the theme is, it will have decided, the theme designer will have decided what is the thumbnail size going to be like, what is the medium, what's the large size default images. All of this can be changed in the editor. For some reason, when you install WordPress for the first time, the permalink structure will always be this mess of letters and numbers. The permalink structure is the name of the post or the name of the page. You can designate different users to have different editing capabilities on the website. So somebody like me, if this is my own website, I can be like an administrator, but if you're working with people, maybe say interns, and so they can add content, but maybe not publish it, or add content and publish it, but not change, the fundamental parts of your website, like your theme and your plugins and all the really important bits. So users can be really interesting if you're working with a team of people. Adding pages and posts are pretty much similar. And I always say, if you can make a Microsoft Word document, you can make a WordPress website. It's very similar. It's super, super easy to do. So basically, here's a list of my pages. So if I wanted to add new, I click, strange enough, add new button. So it's pretty easy to add content into a page. You put your cursor here, and strange enough, you start typing. But what generally people do is they don't type content directly into here unless they're maybe doing a blog post or something like that. They'll generally copy and paste it from something else. It doesn't play well with formatting from lots of different services. So my tip is that, can you see there's two editors up here, a visual and a text editor, just here? My tip, instead of pasting it into the visual editor here, because what it will do is it will bring in residual formatting from whatever service that you typed your document in or that you copied and pasted it from. So what I do is I always pop it into the text editor, because what it does, it strips out the formatting and it will just save you a step. So that's just a little tip from years of doing it the wrong way. My tip for doing it is I'll highlight the phrase or the words I want to link to, click on the link, and you can see that's already highlighted, already blued out. Now open link in a new window or tab. I tend to tick that. Why?
You don't really want people to leave your website.
You don't want people to leave it. Google takes into account over 200 signals when they decide to return search results to you when you put a keyword phrase into Google when you're looking for something. What they definitely say is heading 1, H1s, unless they're H2 and H3, are one of the signals they'll take into account on Google. So obviously you guys are artists, maybe people aren't necessarily searching for your work on Google, but there may be things that, oh, I really want to be found for this in particular thing. You can put those keywords into your H1s, your heading ones on the page. So that any code, whether this is an embed from any platform, YouTube, Vimeo, SoundCloud, podcasts, whatever it is, anything that's got code attached to it, it has to, slide share presentations, etc. It all has to go in there. So this is a video on Google Analytics in real life. So I've decided that I want to put this on my website because it's a nice training video. I always use the embed code because you can have more control over the code. So I've got the embed code. I copy that. And I'm going to put it in the text editor, exactly. So I'm going to put it here. And when I click back to the visual editor, a box has appeared. We can change the code because you can see the numbers there. Width 853, height 480. So we can change those. We can change the video size right here in YouTube. So we know that that's a bit too big for our website. I would probably think 560 is probably going to be just about right. So there it is there. That looks like it's going to be better. YouTube videos are considered to be, like other links, just a link. So that video never actually sits on your website. You're linking, it just happens to be playing, but you're linking to exactly, which is how we get away with embedding other people's stuff on our websites all the time. It's been held up in a court of law to be fine. You can protect content, whether it's posts or pages behind password protection, or you might have just a private link. So that's a link that can be accessed to via like an actual link, but it's not part of your navigation. Nobody would find it unless they actually had the link. Once I've hit publish, that then becomes update. So it's the same button, but you're just updating the post. So these are all parent pages here. This is a sub page. These are 2 sub pages, etc. These are all sub pages of webinars, etc., etc. If I decide I want to change this navigation, instead of going into each page and changing the page order and all of this bits and pieces, I'm better off just changing the menu. So how I do that is quite easy. So I go to Appearance, Menus. I do want to leave this page. Okay. Yep. Now and all of your pages will appear here on the left. So you'll have added all your pages about, portfolio, blog, content, contact, etc., etc. So I'm going to add these. I'm going to add those to the menu. They'll appear over here. I'm like, well, they're not quite the order I want them in. So I want webinars up here. So you can just, it's really super easy. You can just drag them down like this. I want these 2 to be sub pages of webinars. So what I do is I just drag that out like this, which is nice and easy. It's all nice and visual, which is great. That's my menu done. I save my menu. On most themes, there'll be a Manage Locations tab. I want the navigation bar, so that's the main one. I want it to be the test menu, and I'll save the changes, and that means my menu will change. And sometimes the menu will automatically appear. If it's not automatically appearing, you need to do something in the settings, like please put it here. Quick Edit I find really useful. This means you can change a whole bunch of things. Like, for example, I can change the URL structure, so that's the slug that comes after the /. I can change the date. I can change the page, if it's a sub-page, default template, make that pending review or draft. So you can just change a whole bunch of things without ever going into the actual post or page and editing it. So slug is the end of the URL. So basically it would be 8fold.org/about or contact me. It's that end bit they call it a slug. So we click on Add Media. We want to upload a file. So here we can drop and drag files to upload, or we can just select files. So there's the image. What I might want to do next is look at some settings. Here's the date, etc. I can see what the size is. You can edit images directly here. So you can, change the dimensions, etc., etc. I find it's always worth renaming the titles of your images right here. This is picked up by search engines, but it's also good for blind people who have screen readers. So screen readers can't read, numbers, but they can read image of a monk walking on rose petals, something like that. So descriptive. So this is a caption. So the caption appears underneath. If we put it in, we go, do you know what? That's completely the wrong size. We can click on it and we can edit it directly there. Let's add a gallery. Again, we go to add media. We go to create gallery. We want to upload more than one file. I'm going to create a gallery, and now I want to order them. So I'll pop that one over there. And can you see the gallery settings there off to the right-hand side? So link to is the attachment page. That's basically the page that the page or the post I've inserted on. So what I probably want to do is put them in 2 columns. So I'm going to insert that. So again, it'd be just about playing around with that. So there's my gallery. Themes have been designed by the designer with, they've decided what the font sizes are going to be, what the heading sizes are going to be. It's all been designed with it all in mind. So to go in and traditionally to go in and change these things, you would need to edit the custom style sheets, the CSS files, to say change font from Calibri to Times New Roman, change heading 1 from 14 point to 18 point, whatever it is. Don't worry about that. But if you're thinking about, I don't like the font of this theme, unless in the theme options, you can change it, you're generally stuck with it. So it is important to find a theme that works on all of the levels that you need. You can't obviously do it if you've got a WordPress.com site because you don't have access to those editing files. But yeah, it's not, if you know a little bit about coding, it's not that difficult. You probably won't be using a plain old vanilla, website like I've got here from my particular business. You'll be using one that's specifically made for adding images. So what I recommend you do is you put some content on your website first. So put your images, put your text, videos, etc. But keep it the default theme, which is quite plain. Then have a play around with adding themes. So don't add the theme too early because you need to have a good bulk of content there to see what it's going to look like with the different designs. Sometimes you get what you pay for. It's worth paying, 30 quid for the theme that really works for your business. As opposed to messing around with these free themes that just don't really work so well. But if you go with companies like Woo Themes or Elegant Themes, as opposed to maybe one designer that's only ever designed one theme in their life, you're less likely, I think, to have this problem because this is their entire business, So Elegant Themes I've used for loads of different websites. Once you've installed one and had a go with it, all of them look the same, in the back end, I mean. So they're really easy to do. So the first time you see a theme, you kind of go, oh my God, there's so many options, I don't know what to do, but it's all about experimentation. But once you've installed one Woo Themes, you can install all the others. They all have the same similar content management system in the back end. So to add a new theme, I go to Appearance, Themes, and live preview it to see, wonder what this will look like with my content. And what it's going to download is a zip file, and we upload the zip file directly in our dashboard. Sometimes you're trying to look at the demo and you're looking at your website and you're thinking, none of this, do people know about the demo? They'll always have a live demo of what their website should look like. And you're thinking, this doesn't look anything like the demo, but it's just about experimenting till it does. It's just all about experimentation and exploring. It can be really daunting when you first install it and all your content disappears. You're like, where's it gone? But it's all there. You just need to tell the system where to put it. One of the things that happens a lot is your navigation will disappear when you install a new theme. You have to tell the theme, go put the menu here. So some themes are really annoying like that. You have to be a bit explicit. So you have to go to the manage locations and say, put the theme in the top location, hit save, and it will appear. So that happens quite a lot. Maybe the perfect theme that you have doesn't have a light box or a nice sort of slideshow that you want to have for your images. There could be a plugin that you can add to your site that will create this functionality for you. So they're really, really amazing, and along with themes is probably the thing that makes WordPress so fantastic. Widgets will tend to be in widgetized areas of the site, which tend to be up in the header, in the sidebar, or in the footer. So say you wanted to have a plugin for like a light box for images. Let's use that as an actual example. Some plugins will have thousands or hundreds of thousands of, downloads and things like that. So sometimes you'll try it and it just doesn't work. And what I try to do is give up quite quickly. So there's always going to be another plugin. So don't spend too long bashing away at the same plugin. And the same thing goes for themes. Some themes are just broken. No matter what you try, no matter what logic you apply to it, you do all the steps, it just doesn't work. Just give up. Sounds awful, but sometimes you just have to stop. So if you tried 5 plugins for lightboxes, you've chosen the one you want, delete the other 4. Yeah, don't just deactivate them, let them sit around. Actually delete them out your system, because it slows things down. It's bad for security because people can get in via plugin code. So for this one, the subscribe, connect, follow widget, I can change the title of it. I can decide how big it's going to be. I think 24 pixels is fine. And then I need to add my services to it. So I would add my Facebook URL and add the URL underneath. I might add my Instagram, etc., etc. So you'd have to just go and actually just set it up. So again, it's just a little bit about hunting around.